somewhere in the Mediterranean. On this naval aircraft carrier, these men have been selected to write a page in military history. They are the best the Navy and Air Force have to offer. They've been brought together to form an elite squad of fighter pilots. Their mission, one of national security and international concern. These are the fearless pilots.
Seems no matter what I do, I end up hurting someone.
The men who command them. Pudding?
No, thank you, sir.
I'll do my best.
And the women who love them.
Stay.
Charlie Sheen.
Never wanted to be a horse so much in my life.
Lloyd Bridges. Call them the best of the best. Call them Hot Shots. The mother of all movies.
Oh, God, I love this country.
The Top Gun knockoff starring Charlie Sheen, that was intentionally supposed to be a parody and funny. And, yeah, like I said, it's a parody of Top Gun, and it's really funny. It's done by the same people that did the Naked Gun movies. It's done by the same people that did Airplane. I mean, these guys, the Zucker brothers, Jim Abrams, Pat Proft, these guys know how to make comedy, and it shows in this movie. This is what most spoof movies that came out of the time failed to do. I mean, they just don't have those movies that we talked about, stuff like Repossessed, those movies like that. They just don't have that same spoof mentality that the Zucker brothers had at their peak, and these guys as well. This movie definitely shows why these movies work with these guys involved. They know exactly what's going to make you laugh. They know what parodies to do and how to do them the right way so that they are funny. There are a lot of good parodies in this movie, not just the Top Gun, 9.5 Weeks, The Fabulous Baker Boys, Dances with Wolves, Marathon Man, Rocky, Superman, Gone with the Wind. All of those are in this movie, and it never feels like they're cluttering it up and just doing stuff at the wall just to get a cheap laugh out of you. Everything they do in this movie is absolutely hilarious. This is one of the funniest movies you will ever see, and it's as funny as the Naked Gun movies, and it works because of the great cast they have involved here. Charlie Sheen proves that he can be a really funny guy when you give him the right script to work with. You have Carrie Elways in here, Valeria Golino, John Cryer, Kevin Dunn, Bill Irwin, Lloyd Bridges. It's just so hilarious. You'll be quoting so many lines from this movie alone that it's honestly better than Top Gun. I mean, it really is better than the movie that they're actually parodying, honestly. It's a movie that still holds up a lot better than the original Top Gun, in my opinion. And, like I said, it's just so funny. There are so many great moments in this movie that just work so well. I mean, this was such a good, fun movie, and it's just like, yeah, like most spoof movies needed to take lessons from the Zucker brothers and Jim Abrams and Pat Proft and these guys, because they clearly know what they were doing, and they know what makes a good laugh in a movie. So, yeah, I don't think I really need to say anything more about this one. I don't even need to tell people to go see it, because chances are you have already seen it at this point, and you also probably think the same thing. Hot Shots is a pretty hilarious movie, plain and simple. So, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to another comedy that's very funny too. It's Michael J. Fox in Doc Hollywood.
Okay, question. Beverly Hills, the most beautiful women in the world, plastic surgery. What do these three things have in common? Me in less than a week. Oh, man. Oh, my God.
I think I can fix that.
We want to hear all about California.
I heard that the women out there have their chests enlarged, their thighs vacuumed, and barred on purpose.
We are prepared to offer you a permanent position as medical practitioner supreme here in the greater Grady metropolitan area, the squash capital of the South. Will all in favor say aye?
Aye. I'm in the Twilight Zone. Just on my way to Beverly Hills. Plastic surgery. Not that you need any.
I suspect your version of romance is whatever will separate me from my panties.
What I'm talking about is dinner. Wear a dress. Panties are optional.
Don't you have some kind of urgent business thousands of miles away from here, Doctor?
He was a man with big plans, but he never planned on her. Michael J. Fox.
Morning, Doc. That's a nice pig you got there.
Yeah, that's what they tell me.
Julie Warner.
You can blink now.
Woody Harrelson.
I could have gone to med school. Just the science part of it I had a problem with.
And Bridget Fonda.
Do doctors know more about sex?
Doc Hollywood.
It's like Cars, except it's actually funny. Yeah, you could definitely tell this movie took a lot from Cars. I mean, Pixar will keep saying that Cars was not ripping this movie off, but come on, man, this is clearly ripping. This was clearly ripping off Doc Hollywood. I mean, there are so many similarities to Cars and this movie that to say that you didn't take anything from it, it's just like, just come on, man. I mean, the first Cars isn't even that bad of a movie, but come on, man. I mean, you really didn't even try to cover that one up, but enough about Cars. We'll get to that one whenever we get to 2006, but let's talk about Doc Hollywood. And then, yeah, Doc Hollywood is a very funny movie. It's Michael J. Fox doing what he does best. This cast overall is great. You have him, you've got Julie Warner, you've got Bridget Fonda, Woody Harrelson, David Ogden Stiers, just this exceptional cast that just works off of this so well. It really does feel like a movie that takes place in the world of a Frank Capra movie. Like, this is something that I think would take place in the world of something like It's a Wonderful Life and something like that. And it is a really good movie. It's a funny movie. It's a good love story between these characters of Michael J. Fox and Julie Warner. It's a very funny movie. It's a very funny film that doesn't rely too heavily on being something unique or different. It's just a good, fun time all around. It's a movie that just really, it works because of how well the cast works off each other. It works because of how funny the script is. It works on how well the script is. And again, just the actors that you get in here to make this work, and it really does work. It's a really fun film all around. And yeah, like I said, it is just a very funny movie all around. I thought I had some more to tell, but really I don't. I mean, Doc Hollywood, it's another one of those movies where you go in, you have a good time with it, and it leaves a good impact on you after you're done watching it. It makes you want to see it over and over again, and it really does work. It's a fun movie all around. Need I say more about it? Doc Hollywood, great movie, just a ton of fun. So, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is the horror thriller Body Parts, starring a pre-Lawnmower Man, Jeff Fahey.
I'd appreciate it if you'd send a copy to all the members and indicate that.
Bill, there's nothing to worry about. Everything's going to be just fine. You lost your arm in a car accident yesterday. We've transplanted another arm for you. How does it feel to have someone else's arm? Dad, it's sort of gross.
Well, that's not how it looks. It's how it works, right? I think there's something the matter with me. Oh! It's the arm. Billy! What's going on? There's something wrong with the person I used to belong to.
You have this guy's arm. You don't have his personality.
I want you to run my prints. Any past record I had would show up on the printout, right? You put a killer's arm under my body and you didn't tell me.
That arm can't do anything you don't want it to.
How do you know that? Where does evil live? Does it live in the soul? In the mind? Maybe it lives in the flesh.
Maybe you got some kind of demon inside of you these days.
Why doesn't anybody want to ask any questions about these operations? I hit my kid. I tried to strangle my wife. I have nightmares every night. I want this mama!
Don't you realize what I and my team have accomplished with that arm?
So that's where The Simpsons got the idea for Hell to Pay from. I mean, that's pretty much the same plot as this movie, except replace the arm of a serial killer with the hair of a serial killer. I mean, it's pretty much the same plot, and of course the serial killer is played by Brad Dourif. Why wouldn't he be? I mean, yeah, this is a weird movie. I mean, it's a movie that seems simple enough, and maybe in the right hands you could have had something very grisly and very fun, but it's a weird movie. It's a movie that just doesn't really... I don't think they really had a good idea of what they wanted to do. I mean, there is some interesting ideas here, but overall the acting is pretty mediocre at best, and the ideas of having a serial killer's arm through a transplant could lead to a lot of good moments, good ideas, and interesting situations, but the movie never really does anything like that. I mean, it tries its best. It's a movie that has a good premise to it, but they don't really do anything with it. It just kind of veers into the typical horror movie cliches that we've seen over and over again. It's a movie that could be very interesting, could be very unique, but for what it is, it's a film that just doesn't really work as well as I think they wanted it to. I think there are some good ideas here, just the execution doesn't work very well. It's a shame, too, because there is a lot of potential with this. And for Jeff Fahey, there'd be a better success for him the year later when Lawnmower Man came out. So, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the last movie, and that is the sequel that everybody has been wanting to see. I know that we've been demanding this sequel for so long, and they finally made it. Return to the Blue Lagoon.
It was the first motion picture to explore the innocence of natural love in a paradise filled with wonder. Now, the story continues for a new generation. Columbia Pictures invites you to return to the Blue Lagoon. Two castaways, alone in a world untouched by time. Through the eyes of innocence, they discover their sensuality.
Do you remember what Mother said would happen when I became a woman?
Yes?
Become one.
Through the heart of danger,
I like the way it makes me feel.
they face every challenge nature has to offer.
It feels all alive.
Until the day civilization invades their island paradise.
Get away from me!
I want us to be husband and wife.
Yes.
And tests the boundaries of their love. Return to the innocence. Return to the mystery. Return to the passion. Return to the Blue Lagoon.
Oh, by the way, I was being sarcastic. Nobody was asking for this sequel. I mean, the original Blue Lagoon was an unexpected hit, but that impact that movie had did not last as long as people would want to think it is. Plus, that movie itself is not even that good to begin with. I mean, it just really isn't. You just want to watch two young people in their teens falling in love with each other on a deserted island, and you don't really get that with that movie. And the sad part, the worst thing about this movie is that it's the exact same plot as the first movie, except done worse. I mean, okay, so this supposedly takes place after the events of the first movie, which really makes no sense whatsoever, and it just, I don't know, man, this whole movie just is such a gigantic mess. I mean, the first movie at least had some likable personalities to it with Brooke Shields and Christopher Atkins. This is just a mess all around. Like, it's bad enough that you have to do the same movie over again, but you add in these new ridiculous, stupid elements to it that make it even worse than the previous film. It also doesn't help that Mila Jovovich is in it, and if you've been following my stuff over the last couple of years, you know that I really do not like Mila Jovovich as an actress. She tries way too hard to be taken seriously. She's not a good action heroine, at least with the Resident Evil movies. I just don't like her as an actress overall. I mean, she's probably a nice person in real life. I mean, she's probably a good person in real life, but as an actress, man, she's just terrible. I mean, And this movie doesn't help her out a bit, but then again, it's not really her fault. It's just the idea of doing another Blue Lagoon movie where you do absolutely nothing to make it interesting or exciting, or just do something clever with it. It just doesn't work at all. It just rehashes the same movie from the first time all over again, except does it even stupider with new elements that make no sense whatsoever compared to the original film. I don't think I need to say any more about this movie. It's a disaster on so many levels. It's a movie that shouldn't have been made. They made it, and nobody went to go see it because audiences were at least smart enough to say, I'm not spending money on this. It's just like, yeah, this movie's just awful, man. It's an awful, awful film. Return to the Blue Lagoon. Just don't go. Don't return.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. He always makes an impact. Now, get ready for double impact. There's 2 of them. Think about it. Van Damme times 2.
He looks exactly like you.
Me? Twin brothers reunited on a mission. Watch my back. To avenge their parents' death. One packs a punch. One packs a piece. Good to me. Together, they deliver. Double impact. Excuse me. From Hollywood to the Far East. On land. On sea. And in the air. They're damn quick. Express service. Damn cool. Damn hot.
So now what do we do? That's what I love about you.
Van Damme. Times 2. Double the fun.
I would never in my life wear black silk underwear. I'm with you on that one.
And double the bad damage. Double impact.
I mean, honestly, I really don't need to say anything too much more about this particular movie. It's Jean-Claude Van Damme, and Jean-Claude Van Damme doing what Jean-Claude Van Dammes do best. I mean, you get them both. You get 2 different Jean-Claude Van Damme performances in here, but pretty much it's the same thing. It's just people fighting him and him usually winning the battles. I mean, I really got nothing on this particular movie because, like I said before, I'm not usually the biggest fan of these movies, and really, this is pretty much everything you've seen in previous movies, so honestly, there's nothing really more I can add to this that really could elevate this. If you like the other Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, you'll definitely get a kick out of this one, so that's really all I got. So, that's Double Impact. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Martin Short and Danny Glover in the comedy Pure Luck.
Somewhere on the Mexican Riviera, a beautiful heiress has been kidnapped. To find her, they'll need the best team in the business. He has the experience, but his regular partner wasn't available. So they found someone even more lethal to himself.
Oh, if you send somebody after her who's as unlucky as she is, he could literally stumble onto her.
What is this, some kind of joke or something?
At the age of 3, he's almost strangled by the cord from some draperies.
Mr. Proctor is here, sir.
I want you to go to Mexico and look for my daughter.
This man has been hit by lightning twice. Once while inside a movie theater.
I think we're gonna make a good team.
I'm trained in martial arts.
Only you. It can only happen to you.
You're jealous because women are attracted to me and you can't stand it. Stay still.
No, don't!
Martin Short,
It's a bee. Double. What? I'm allergic to bee stings.
Danny Glover,
Are you all right? Fine. And you?
Pure Luck.
So that's where Jiminy Glick came from. I mean, really look at that again. That's pretty much primetime Glick. But, yeah, other than that, though, this is another one of those comedies that just didn't work. It's a movie that seems like it makes too much sense, but it doesn't really do a whole lot. You've got Danny Glover against the polar opposite character once again. Instead of it's Mel Gibson, it's Martin Short. And Martin Short can be very funny, but the movies that he was picking at the time were very mixed. I mean, for every Interspace, you'd have something like Three Fugitives, and you'd have something like this that just feels like a movie that he's trying way too hard to be funny in. And he can be very funny. We've seen it in movies before and since this movie came out, but he's just there to be the comic relief character, and he's not really all that good in this because he doesn't have a good script to work with. And, yeah, this movie just didn't end up working out well, instantly forgettable, and, again, that's really all I have to say on this one. I don't have really too much to say on most of these movies, so that's pure luck. This next movie has a lot of interesting aspects to it that are very bizarre, but we'll delve into that as we go along. This is Bingo.
His name is Bingo. He's a dog.
He just needs a little boy to play frisbee with.
The only thing that dog's gonna catch is a bullet.
His name's Chucky. He needs a dog. And from the moment Bingo landed in Chucky's life,
All right. Bingo! Bingo, where are you?
things started looking up. Just a couple of obstacles stood in the way of this team.
What are you guys saying? That I'm hiding a dog or something?
Bingo, Chucky's family,
I hate animals. Over there, Rover.
and a change of address.
Bingo! Bingo, where are you? Bingo!
But Bingo didn't give up. He got moving.
No dog can track you that distance.
And as he made tracks, he made friends.
Oh, it's a cute doggy.
What is that, champagne? You've been drinking?
Enemies.
They got us surrounded. One move and the dog gets it.
And the 6 o'clock news.
Your Honor, could we have the court reporter read back the dog's testimony?
I'm gonna get you if it's the last thing I do.
Nothing can stop a dog like Bingo. He's all business.
Assisted dishwashing.
Even when business
Raw meat?
is a pleasure.
Hi, Bingo. Miss us?
Because nothing comes between a dog and a dog's best friend. Bingo.
Can I keep him, Dad?
Just as soon as we have him neutered.
I can't believe I have to play the Krusty clip again, but, here you go.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, this is a weird movie on so many levels. I guess what it's trying to do is trying to be like The Problem Child for dogs, a movie that is so universally panned by critics, but audiences will just come and see it regardless. And then they didn't come to go see this, so this was a complete waste of time. And on top of that, it's a weird movie on so many levels. Like, it's supposed to be this family film, but you've got women in lingerie, you've got this dog drinking alcohol, you've got this dog being chased by the police. It's just like, what is going on in this movie? And everybody in this trailer looks they just look like the most horrible people on the planet. I mean, there's nothing good about these people at all in this movie. It's just like, this is a mess of a movie. This is a bizarre mess of a movie. It's one of those things where it's just like, I really don't know what they were trying to go for here, but yeah, it's really weird. It's a really weird, messed up movie. It's supposed to be a kid's film too, but did any of that look like a movie for kids except for the dog? I don't think so, but what do I know? But yeah, Bingo. It's certainly an interesting movie to say the least. I'll give it that. But we've talked about some mediocre movies this week. How about an actually good movie? Here's John Candy in Delirious.
Jack Gable may appear to be successful, but he still has his problems.
Here, let me help you up here.
Especially with women.
Jack, when are you going to stop kidding yourself about Laura?
There's nothing going on between me and Laura.
I know that. But do you?
Till one day, the writer of the sappiest soap on TV.
These heart, lung, liver transplants are almost routine.
Good scene. Really great scene. Had a slight accident. And woke up to find himself living in his own show.
You're in Ashford Falls Community Hospital.
There is no Ashford Falls.
See for yourself.
Oh, no! All I want to do is get out of this stinking little town!
You say you're a writer, then write your way out!
What's the rush? Where am I running?
Now, I'll make Rachel beg for me. With the help of his typewriter, he can make himself into the man he's always wanted to be.
I love this.
But suddenly, things just aren't going according to the script.
I didn't write any of this.
And all he wants is to write his way home.
Oh, God, I couldn't have been that drunk. Why else did I write last night?
But getting there will require the minimum of typos.
The bartender needs more cold beer. Not beer. Beer!
John Candy.
I know this may sound crazy, but I created this whole town!
Mariel Hemingway. Emma Sands.
You have this strange power over me.
Raymond Burr.
What the hell is going on around here?
Delirious.
I'm in hell, and my punishment is spending eternity on my own show.
So yeah, we have another very underrated John Candy comedy from 1991. We've already looked at one of them previously with Only the Lonely. But, this movie's actually really funny. And not to mention, this is the second comedy in 91 to focus primarily on a soap opera, with the other one being Soap Dish, except this time, the main character's getting stuck in his own soap opera, and the other movie was just a soap opera within a soap opera. And yeah, this movie is really damn good. It's a movie that a lot of people don't really know about, but it's a very funny movie. It's John Candy doing another great performance in this. You also have Mariel Hemingway. You've got Emma Sands, Raymond Burr, David Raich, the second movie he's been in this weekend. The other one being Bingo. Dylan Baker, the late Charles Rocket. It's a funny movie. It's a really funny movie. It's a funny movie that, once again, plays with the idea of doing a satirical take on a soap opera, except this time, like I said, the writer is in his own soap opera, different compared to what Soap Dish was, but it's a really funny movie. It's a movie that a lot of people don't really talk about all that much, but it's definitely a movie that you should definitely go out and see. It's a movie that I think is a lot funnier than people would give it credit for. It's one that, it's just one of those reasons why 1991 really was such a good year for movie comedies in general, because you had some great underrated gems, particularly such as this one. Yeah, I'd say definitely go and check out Delirious. You can definitely find it somewhere on Blu-ray. I'd say definitely look for it if you can. It's a wonderful, wonderful little gem. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to a couple of Miramax movies. We have the documentary Paris is Burning.
To us, is as close to reality as we're going to get to all of that fame and...
So, as you can tell, this is a documentary about the drag queen scene. This actually is filmed in the mid to late 1980s, chronicling the ball culture of New York City, you know, and with African American, Latino, gay, and transgender communities all involved in it. Some of it is sort of like the end of the golden age of New York City drag balls, and it's also a thoughtful exploration of race, class, gender, and sexuality in America. I can't really comment on this movie too much because this is one of those ones where I haven't really seen it, but it does look it does look like a very good documentary. It looks like it does exactly what it wants to do, and I've heard nothing but good things about it, so just acknowledging that it came out this weekend. Might definitely check it out one day, but I'm not going to rush out to see it, but yeah, it definitely looks like a promising documentary that has a lot of good, interesting ideas to it that might be worth checking out, I should say. So, there you go. That is Paris is Burning. Let's go ahead and move on to the last movie, which I cannot think of right now, but let me just double check here. It's Crossing the Line.
Голямата му любов е високата скорост. В какво обвинявате сина ми? Нужно му е нещо много повече от парите ви, мистер Кейган. За да стане шампион. Не си добре дошъл тук.
Yeah, we have yet another movie that goes by a different name. It's actually called The Big Man. But it also stars Liam Neeson, Joanne Whalley-Kilmer, Billy Connolly. David Leland directed it. The music is by Ennio Morricone. The plot is a Scottish miner, played by Neeson, becomes unemployed during a union strike. He's unable to support his family and cannot resolve his bitterness about his situation. Desperate for money, he acts on an offer made by a Glasgow gangster, to fight an illegal bare-knuckle boxing match. A long and brutal fight follows. I'm literally just reading that off of Wikipedia because I have not seen this movie, so I can't really comment on it too much. Hugh Grant's also in it too, if that means anything, but yeah, I can't really comment on it too much because I haven't seen the movie. I can't really talk about it, but it existed. It does exist, obviously, and it came out this weekend in the U.S., so there you go. That is The Big Man for you.
I forgot what I was going to say. It was something really enchanting.
Tom.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just skip this whole first impression thing. What do you say?
Great idea. Great idea. I've always kind of thought fourth impressions, they were really the most important.
Great time.
You are?
Can't wait to see what you'll do next.
Next?
Mr. Liu would like you to be his guests for dinner.
Did you know that he killed my cousin, Ho Wong?
Well, it's our first date. We haven't had a lot of time to open up to each other.
What the heck is your problem? I think he wants to kill us.
What, with MSG?
So Mystery Day, as you can see, has Ethan Hawke, Terry Polo from the Meet the Parents movies. You also got Fisher Stevens, B.D. Wong, and James Hong, Victor Wong. There's a decent cast here, but I don't know. The movie itself kind of looks like it's trying to be a mix between something like Adventures in Babysitting meets After Hours, and those two are really great movies, but unless you have something really good to work, unless you have a good script to work with here, chances are this movie's probably not going to end up being that great. And judging by the trailer, I don't think they really sold that movie very well. And from the critical reviews I've seen for it, it hasn't gotten a lot of good reviews on it. So it's one of those movies that I probably won't see. I don't really have a huge interest in seeing it, but I don't know. Like I said, the trailer didn't really impress me all that much. I really haven't heard anybody say it's anything that special, so I probably won't see it anytime soon. But it did come out this weekend. I acknowledged its existence and the fact that it did come out this weekend. So yeah, that's Mystery Date. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is The Commitments.
Hey, what's this? What's what? Have you got soul? If so, the world's hardest working band is looking for you. Contact Jay Rabbit.
I'm putting a band together.
Do you need a singer? Wise men say.
Who are your influences? Led Zeppelin, Sinead O'Connor, Barry Manilow,
Joan Baez, Joni Mitchell,
Wings.
Well, what kind of music are we going to be playing, Jimmy? Soul. Soul? That's what you got to measure up to, lads.
Well, like, maybe we're a little white.
Nowhere to run to, baby.
Directed by Alan Parker, who we've looked at a couple of his movies beforehand. Recently, we looked at Come See the Paradise, and then he did Mississippi Burning, which we did all the way back on the first episode. So this movie has a lot of intrigue to me, and honestly, it does look like a very interesting movie. It's one that I do want to check out at some point. I like the ideas that they have going on here. I like the music that they have in here. Most notably, this is actually the first film produced by Beacon Pictures, who would later go on to produce a lot of other movies, like ones that I can't think of off the top of my head right now. So I'm looking at the list here. Stuff like Sugar Hill, The Road to Wellville, The Babysitter's Club, Air Force One, For the Love of the Game, The Hurricane, End of Days, Duets, Family Man, Bring It On, Spy Game, Ladder 49, Open Range. They've done all these movies that have been. There are some good movies in that list, and this is one of the first ones they ever put out as a kind of their own separate studio. And like I said, it does look really promising. I like the cast that they have in here. I like the trailer from the stuff that I've seen. Couldn't show the whole thing because of, copyright issues with the music. But yeah, this is a movie that looks like it could be really good. I definitely want to check it out at some point. So I really want to see what this movie is like. So there you go. That's The Commitment.
How can they be strangers? It's okay. If they were lovers a lifetime ago.
How far back are you?
1948.
There's a lot more people who believe in past lives than don't. If he killed her then,
Woman?
well, he killed her. He found you again, didn't he? Again. I would never hurt you. This is all far from over. Dead Again, rated R. Now playing at theaters everywhere.
Interesting how Robin Williams is all over the advertising for this, even though if you look at the credits at the end of the trailer and then the end of this TV spot, his name is not on there whatsoever. So it's very interesting that he is all over the TV spots, he's all over the trailer for this, and yet his name is not on here. It's very interesting when you really think about it. But I mean, the movie as a whole is really damn good. This is probably one of the best neo-noir thrillers of the 90s, honestly. It has a really good premise to it. Kenneth Branagh once again shows his great abilities to act and direct. He has great chemistry with Emma Thompson. You've got a great cast that also includes the aforementioned Robin Williams, but also Andy Garcia, Derek Jacobi, Wayne Knight, Campbell Scott's also in this, Christine Ebersol. Just an overall great cast, and I love the great twists and turns that this movie takes. This one does keep you on the edge of your seat. It does what a good thriller is supposed to do. It doesn't have an ending that cops out. It's got a really good ending to it, a good twist that I really didn't see coming in the end. But, yeah, it's a very good movie. It's a really well-done film. I think people should definitely check it out. If you want to see some of the best of Branagh's work, this is definitely one of his best movies, in my opinion. Dead Again. So, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Mickey Rourke and Don Johnson in Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man.
Marlboro. If you want to ride their road, you gotta know the rules. Never play cowboy.
School's out, boys.
In a room full of Indians.
It's better to be dead and cool than alive and uncool.
Never go into a bar.
I can't watch this.
Unless you're willing to get smashed.
You're doing pretty good under there.
Never ride a Brahma bull.
Strap on your seatbelt, get ready to fly.
When you can take a bus.
That look like the work of two big hoods?
Yeah, pros would have used my keys.
Never rob a bank.
Get back what's mine and kill these men, okay?
Run by bigger crooks than you.
Hey man, that's what friendship's all about.
Never resist an arresting officer.
Okay, cowboy, let's blow off some steam.
We gotta talk to the man upstairs.
Stand my tail.
No problem.
Never start at the bottom when you want a man on top. Never dive from the 20th floor.
We're gonna jump. I hate you for this, Harley.
I hate you, Harley!
Unless the pool is full.
You guys are a piece of work.
Shoot him!
Mickey Rourke, Don Johnson, Harley Davidson, and the Marlboro Man.
You know, you could have just had the advertising icons of Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man, and you would have had a much better movie than this one is. This is another dud from Mickey Rourke, and another dud for Don Johnson, too. who are very good actors in their own rights, but they pick some really bad movies, and this one really is a bad movie. It's a really bad, poorly executed movie that just... It's just the meshing of all these other action buddy cop movies taken with a western, is adding a western element to it, and you get this. It really doesn't work as a film. And this comes from Simon Windsor, who has been a decent director. He has made some good movies. He's made some good stuff like Daryl. The next movie he would do after this was Free Willy. He did The Phantom. He did a lot of other movies. Quickly Down Under, which we looked at last year. He is a decent director, and he has made some good things, but this was just a really bad movie that just suffers on a bad script, and just Mickey Rourke and Don Johnson just picking these terrible scripts. They're not really doing anything to really... They're not doing anything to really show their abilities as actors and charismatic actors. Like, Don Johnson was great on Miami Vice, but every movie that we've seen after Miami Vice ended in '89 has not been very good for him. And Mickey Rourke is a great actor, but the movies that we've seen, the last couple ones we've seen, Desperate Hours, this one, just doesn't work. And like I said, it's just a really bad meshing of buddy cop movies like Lethal Weapon or Beverly Hills Cop or 48 Hours, those type of movies. It just doesn't work. The writing isn't funny, the jokes aren't set up very well, the action overall is pretty mediocre, and it's just not a good movie. It's just not a good movie whatsoever. It's a really lackluster film, to say the least. So that's Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man for you. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Barbara Hershey and Sam Shepard in Defenseless.
Stephen Seldes, businessman, family man.
Hi.
Counselor? Everyone who knew him.
Stephen?
Everyone who loved him
Stephen?
had a reason to kill him. Now, his problems are over. Hers have just begun.
He was my client. And how did he die?
Unwillingly.
Hello? Who is this? Who is this?
Who killed Stephen Seldes?
It could have been anybody.
I want names.
What do these circumstances lead you to conclude?
That Mr. Seldes knows the person who killed him. His faithful wife.
I am pleading guilty, and nothing you can say or do is going to change that.
Who are you protecting?
No one.
You're lying. You were sleeping with her husband, so what?
His adoring daughter.
The night your dad died, where were you? He didn't die, he was murdered. Where were you?
An angry father.
Why would he kill us? He knows I talked to you.
Or the attorney who believed all his lies.
How do you account for that?
For what?
That a man would allow himself to be struck with a deadly instrument 18 times without defending himself.
Jeez, the guy's dead. Let him be.
Someone's lying.
You cannot do this. I forbid it.
Nobody knew anything about Stephen.
Did you?
Barbara Hershey. Sam Shepard. Defenseless. The only thing more shocking than the killing was the motive.
Another early film from director Martin Campbell. And Martin Campbell has been a good director, but really, I think GoldenEye was the start of that good trend that he was on, because he did stuff like GoldenEye, The Mask of Zorro, Vertical Limits, Casino Royale, Edge of Darkness, those movies that come after that. We're still kind of in the midst of those mediocre movies that he did, and this is definitely a very mediocre movie. That trailer just packs on so much story that you can kind of figure out you kind of have a good idea of what the twist is going to be, and it just doesn't. It's one of those movies that really does feel like a generic TV movie of the week type of thing. It just doesn't work. It's a movie that has a good amount of people in there, so great people in the cast, but just the script overall is very generic, very mediocre, and like I said, it just feels like a TV movie of the week, like you'd see on Lifetime. Like, this isn't even good enough to be a CBS or NBC movie of the week. This is something you'd see on Lifetime, and it's not even that good. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Defenseless. So, let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is True Identity.
Pictures. Actor Miles Polk is the man of 1,000 faces. And the mob wants all of them whacked.
I gotta disappear now.
But if he wants to save his skin,
You make me look like Wayne Newton.
he'll have to give the performance of a lifetime.
Frankie, salute. I know who I am, and it's not Ward Cleaver.
True Identity.
That's it. What it is. Right on, baby.
Rated R.
Well, you certainly couldn't make that movie today. I mean, wow, they really went there. Huh? It's like, imagine a reversal of Soul Man, except there isn't anything even remotely funny about it. I mean, not to say that Soul Man was not that funny, but at least Soul Man was at least trying. I'm talking about the one from '86, but even that movie is still very much out of date. And this movie just, oh boy. I feel bad for that actor, Lenny Henry. It felt like it kind of killed his career, honestly. Although I am reading that he looked back on and he said when he went to do this movie in '91, America wanted their very own Richard Pryor. They didn't need him to pretend to be Richard Pryor, so he had to rethink his career after this. So I guess he did kind of look at this and say, wow, this really hurt my career, honestly. And I mean, he has had a decent career since then. I've been looking at his stuff right here and the stuff he's been in. He's been in a couple of the Harry Potter movies, Prisoner of Azkaban. He was in Penelope. He's in that new Lord of the Rings series that's coming up pretty soon on Amazon. So his career has at least taken a rebound since then. So that's a good thing. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to be checking this movie out because I think I have a pretty good idea of how bad of a movie this could possibly be. And I mean, this movie does look pretty bad, so yeah, True Identity. That's a thing that came out back then. So with that said, let's get on to the next movie, and that is Dolph Lundgren and Brandon Lee in Showdown in Little Tokyo.
For over 400 years, they've developed their own mysterious traditions. For over 400 years, they've had a strict code of honor and unparalleled standards of respect. For over 400 years, they have terrorized the streets of Japan. Now, they want to control the city of Los Angeles. Determined to leave their mark in blood. Dolph Lundgren and Brandon Lee are ready for a showdown in Little Tokyo. They're two LA cops who are hungry for a little takeout. Dolph Lundgren, Brandon Lee. Showdown in Little Tokyo.
Yeah, probably not a good sign if most of your trailer is complete with somebody just telling you what these characters are instead of actually listening to them. Like, seriously, you don't hear Dolph Lundgren, you don't hear Brandon Lee, and you think maybe it's just the trailer. No, there are TV spots out there that are literally the same thing. It's the same thing that these two don't talk in the trailers or the TV spots, so that's kind of a warning sign, number one, that this movie probably isn't going to be all that good. And I mean, these guys actually aren't that bad of actors. Like, something like this could work, but I don't know. The fact that that trailer just shows them not talking whatsoever, not having any interaction with each other, I don't know. I don't think this movie ended up being all that good. Even though I've seen some reviews later on that did say it is kind of an underrated gem. I think people that would like these type of movies, these martial arts type of films, probably will enjoy it, but it's not something I'm going to rush out to see anytime soon, so can't really comment more on that one since I haven't seen it. So that's Showdown in Little Tokyo. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, which is, quite honestly, the best movie that came out that weekend, and that is the Coen Brothers' Barton Fink. Why did I say it like that? Barton Fink.
For the first time in the history of the Cannes Film Festival, one film has swept all the major awards. Barton Fink.
you a writer, Mr. Fink?
Actually, I'm writing for the pictures now.
Oh, it's an exciting time now.
Is that him? Is that Barton Fink? Say whatever the hell you want. The writer is king here at Capitol Pictures. We're only interested in one thing. Can you tell a story, Bond? Can you make us want to break out? Enjoy a song. Is that more than one thing? Okay.
Devil on the canvas, 12 apple, take one.
Just having trouble getting started. Wallace Spirit, wrestling picture. What do you need, a roadmap?
We all need understanding, Barton.
Oh, you'll lick this picture business, believe me. You got a head on your shoulders. And what is it they say? Where there's a head, there's hope.
Because you don't listen!
I'm a writer.
A new film by Joel and Ethan Coen.
So it's 4 for 4 for the Coen brothers. They made Blood Simple, Raising Arizona, Miller's Crossing, and now Barton Fink, which is a fantastic movie. It's a great showcase for John Turturro. It has a great cast overall. John Goodman, Michael Lerner, Judy Davis, John Mahoney, Tony Shalhoub, John Polito, Steve Buscemi, Frances McDormand. Just a phenomenal cast overall. And it is the Coen brothers doing what the Coen brothers do so well. They create these weird, sick, twisted elements of black comedy mixed in with some great thriller aspects, mixed in with a film noir, a horror film, just everything in here but the kitchen sink. And this is notable for being one of the early films that Roger Deakins worked with them on, because of course Barry Sonnenfeld, the previous cinematographer, went on to work on the Addams Family movie as a director. So in comes Roger Deakins, and what more do you have to say about his great works? This is another great cinematically film for him. I'm not going to stop that, but it's because you know what I'm talking about. But, yeah, really, I've got nothing more to say about this one that hasn't already been said already. It's a weird, twisted comedy, dramedy, black comedy, any way you want to put it. It's the Coen brothers doing what the Coen brothers do best. I mean, this is right when they were continuing just putting out hit after hit after hit. This is another one of their great films. I mean, you can't go wrong with Barton Fink. So, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next movie here, and that is Pastime.
Rookie showed up. Two men formed a friendship and became a team.
What are you looking at? You don't look at me.
I mean, it ain't the color and all. It's the smoke. It's the hunger. What you do with your God-given, kid.
Bream's got more experience, savvy, and fight in him and all those guys put together.
You gotta have some special pitch, something that drives batters crazy, something they don't see from nobody but you. That is it, the Bream Dream.
Still wants to win this one for Big Roy and Dave.
Gotta learn to look a man in the eye. No reason to look at the ground for nobody. Us pitches, we gotta stick together.
Before there were lights at Wrigley Field, salary arbitration, or George Steinbrenner, an over-the-hill pitcher, and a talented rookie teamed up to play for the love of the game.
That's ball! That's ball!
Pastime.
I mean, every generic baseball movie that you've ever seen is pretty much in this movie. I mean, really, there's nothing more to really say about this one, but, yeah, it's pretty much every baseball movie you've ever seen. I mean, all the cliches are there. There's nothing really all that exciting story-wise or acting-wise. Everybody's doing the best with what they have to work with. But, yeah, I really got nothing to say here about this one. I mean, this is just pretty much every baseball movie you've ever seen, except not as good or as enjoyable. I mean, somebody might like it out there, but I certainly didn't. So, yeah, that's Pastime. I literally don't have anything else to say. I mean, this looks like pretty much every single baseball movie ever made, so I've got nothing else to say here. So let's go ahead and move on to the last film that we have here, and that is Naked Tango.
Too beautiful to survive. From the creators of Kiss of the Spider-Woman. Naked Tango. Rated R.
Just to give you kind of an idea of the premise here, A young woman escapes her elderly husband by swapping places with a woman who committed suicide. She believes her new life will be that of an arranged marriage, but finds it in fact a ruse to cause her to work in a brothel. The film plays the association of a tango with brothels and clearly alludes to the practices of the Zwi Megal, white slavery and prostitution ring that was active in Buenos Aires early in the 20th century and was dissolved thanks to Raquel Lieberman. So you've got Vincent D'Onofrio, Matilda May, Fernando Rey, and Isai Morales in the cast here. I really got nothing to say on this one. All I know is that it was made by the same people that made Kiss of the Spider-Woman, I guess, which was a pretty good movie. It had a great performance by William Hurt, but I know nothing about this particular movie, honestly. So, acknowledging that it just came out this weekend, and that's all I got for you. Naked Tango.
Welcome to Hell on Earth.
You are without a doubt the most pathetic thing I have ever seen.
Strict discipline.
Does this look like a gun to you, Barkley? It's a rifle.
Next, rigid dress codes.
Presto, you're bald.
Get those weapons in the air. I want to see them high.
And grueling drills. It couldn't possibly get any worse.
Wrong again, wimp.
Chucky's back. A few years have passed.
No, you're dead. We killed you.
I'm new and improved.
At Kent, we take bedwetters and turn them into men.
Andy, how you've grown. And this time,
I really gotta get out of this body.
He's looking for a new recruit.
I got some fresh meat lined up, and I'm not gonna let you spoil it.
Now,
just think, Chucky's gonna be...
Sorry for the abrupt cut there. My finger slipped when I hit the record button. But, for a movie that only came out 9 months after the previous movie, you would really think that this was something like a back-to-back sequel type of thing with Back to the Future or The Matrix, where they just filmed the films back-to-back, but nope, they rushed this one out pretty quickly, and it pretty much shows how little effort they put into this. I mean, the Chucky doll still looks pretty good, decent for what, still looks pretty impressive with the technological advances they were able to work with, but with the movie that takes place 8 years following the events of the last movie, 1 month before the events of Bride of Chucky, and then to have a film that wanted a guy like Arlie Ermey for the Colonel in this, but they couldn't even get him. Like, how awesome would it have been if Arlie Ermey and Chucky were in the same movie together? I think that would have been really impressive, but yeah, like I said, I haven't seen the Child's Play movies, but I could tell from this trailer here that this is definitely the weakest one of the series. In fact, most people would say it is the weakest one of this original series. Even though that supposedly this is more notorious because of something that happened after the thing came out, because there was a claim that this movie had something to do with the murder of James Bulger. What had happened was that the killers, who were 10 years old at the time, were said to have imitated the scene in which one of Chucky's victims is splashed with blue paint. Although the allegations against the film have never been proven, the case led to some legislation for video films. Somebody said that the link with a video was the father of one of the boys had rented Child's Play 3 some months earlier. However, the police officer who did the investigation found out that the son was not living with his father at the time and was unlikely to have seen the film. Moreover, the boy didn't like horror films, a point later confirmed by psychiatric reports. Thus, the police investigation, which had looked for a video link, concluded that there was none. In other words, these people completely lied. It's like the whole thing with the Beavis and Butthead thing. If you remember what happened with Beavis and Butthead, a kid, set his house on fire because of something that happened on Beavis and Butthead. That was the story, and then it eventually turned out to be not true, and it's a complicated situation. So they just basically straight up lied to make themselves to make this movie look like it was part of something more malicious, but it was never confirmed that this happened. Like the Beavis and Butthead thing, you can make the argument that did happen, but there were a lot of warning signs that say that didn't happen the way it did. But in this case, somebody just made a complete lie about something when they put this together. It's a weird thing. Like, this movie's more notorious for the things that didn't happen than the thing that actually did happen. And the movie that happened it's largely seen as a missed opportunity for the fans of the series that I've talked to. But yeah, that's really all I got to say about that one. I just thought that was pretty interesting that a murder was connected to this movie that may or may not have been the case. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about Child's Play 3, because I can't really say anything about it. I haven't seen the movies. I haven't seen any of them, honestly. Yeah, Child's Play 3. So, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Beastmaster 2, Through the Portal of Time.
In a dark and distant age, a lone warrior with mystical powers, master of the beast and the creatures he commands. Rue, his strength, Kodo and Podo, his thieves, and She-Ra, his eyes. They will challenge the forces of a brutal tyrant.
Did you actually believe that you and your flock of peasants could overthrow my kingdom?
But the battle for the fate of their world,
With the threat of such a weapon, I could rule unopposed.
will lead them to another.
The ultimate power awaits you, my lord. A dimensional portal, the doorway to your ultimate triumph.
To the most barbaric land that time has ever known.
This is Los Angeles. Most awesome place in the universe.
Yo, Darth Vader, what is this, some kind of movie set?
You gotta get yourself some fresh thread. Rock and roll, baby.
And I think that's enough of that. I mean, seriously, when did the Beastmaster become a comedy? I mean, I guess they were trying to do something similar to what happened with Army of Darkness, but Sam Raimi ain't involved in this movie, and the people who made this movie clearly do not have the same mentality as Sam Raimi. I mean, Sam Raimi made The Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, two great horror movies, and then he made a great comedy sequel in Army of Darkness, a horror comedy sequel. This ain't none of that. This isn't. I mean, the original Beastmaster is a guilty pleasure movie. It's a fun guilty pleasure movie, but this is just this trailer just makes me not want to see this movie whatsoever. It's like they're trying it's the lazy fish out of water story that stuff like Masters of the Universe tried and failed miserably at. Not but 4 years prior to this, and somebody's doing it again this time with Beastmaster, and of course it just doesn't work. From the trailer I've seen, it's not going to work, and I haven't seen anybody say that it's as good to watch with the Beastmaster, even though they tried to put it on the same networks that Beastmaster found its cult following with. But yeah, I got nothing on this one. This one looks pretty bad on so many levels, just for the lazy attempts at comedy from that trailer alone. So, there you go. That's Beastmaster 2 Through the Portal of Time. Let's go ahead and move on to the last movie, and that is Robbie Coltrane in The Pope Must Diet.
Of the classic religious epics, Ben-Hur, and the greatest story ever told, comes a new film. Pope's dead. The church needs a new pope.
We don't have a new pope yet. Shut up, Albanese. You've been made pope.
What? They've elected him.
Is this the guy who says, yes, I'm the pope, and no one kicks my church around?
By mistake.
You're the wrong guy. They all say that.
Now he's shaping up the Vatican.
Until it's gone. Not John Wayne, you're the pope.
To take on the mob.
Kill him.
Robbie Coltrane stars in this hilarious new comedy.
See, it's me.
Featuring the strong comedic talents of Alex Rocco.
You look fabulous. You look every inch of hope.
Paul Bartel.
We're the church. We collect money. We don't give it out.
Herbert Lom.
How'd you do?
And Beverly D'Angelo.
It's a great outfit.
Hey, honey, you want to meet the Pope? Did I ask to be Pope? I don't think so.
The Pope Must Diet.
Or The Pope Must Die, depending on where you live. This is another one of those movies that has an alternate title to it, which basically just takes the T out of there and just calls it The Pope Must Die. this movie seems very... It seems like a movie that really could not be made today, and I'm surprised they made it back then. You can probably tell the movie had a lot of controversy with what they were trying to do. It has a decent cast to it with not only Robbie Coltrane, but also Beverly D'Angelo, Herbert Loam, Balthazar Getty, Alex Rocco's in this. But, yeah, it just seems really offensively bad. Like, it's a movie that seems like they really had a good idea. It seems like one of those really bad ideas that may sound good on paper, but then you actually do, and it's just like, well, we can't do this. It's just like, it reminded me so much of that Heil Honey, I'm Home TV series that they did with Adolf Hitler in a sitcom. They actually did this. They had a show where Adolf Hitler and Ava Braun were like in a 50s style sitcom with living next door to Jewish neighbors. And this is a real show, by the way. The first is, I think the first episode aired, and then they had like 13 other episodes they did, and then they never showed those other ones out. It was like gone after the first episode. Actually, now I'm curious to see if that first episode ever aired. It did air, September 30th, 1990. It actually had 8 episodes. 7 of them still remain unaired. That first one aired, and then everybody was just like, no, we can't do this. I mean, this movie doesn't look like it's that bad of a show, bad of an idea, but it's still pretty rough. If ABC, CBS, and NBC are refusing to show commercials for this because they say it's sacrilegious and offensive, and newspapers are not even bothering to show advertising for it, chances are you may have crossed the line there. So, yeah, it might have a good idea to it, but just the execution, I could see why this probably wouldn't play well, even by today's standards. But, so yeah, that's the Pope Must Die for you.